Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, this is part 2 of the Day 15 coffee machine project. And in this video, I'm going to refactor my basic code solution. I'm going to keep this video short because if you're here, I assume you understand my basic solution and have an intermediate understanding of programming. Again, all my solutions are my own, and I'm working within the confines of the tools and methods permitted by the instructor. As you can see, I have a lot of redundant code here, which violates the dry policy. If you're completely new to programming, this simply means do not repeat yourself. As programmers, we want our code to be as concise as possible. This reduces confusion and the risk of code bugs, while also increasing readability, flexibility, and reusability of the code base. So with that said, I've refactored every method that I've created for this program. So let's begin with the check inventory method. As you can see, I have several nested if statements, and the resource names are the only variation among them. To resolve this issue, I'm going to loop through the resource dictionary and gain access to the key value pairs. Looping is a good solution for two reasons. First, it makes our code more efficient and reusable. For instance, let's say I want to update my resource dictionary. Specifically, I want to add sugar, hazelnut syrup, and ice to my resource object. In the current environment, I would need to manually nest 3 more if statements. That's obviously not efficient. We want the program to automatically deploy new resources throughout the application. Looping through the object is an efficient way to achieve this. Second, looping through resource keys also gives us access to menu item ingredient requirements. By utilizing both the customer's product order and the resource key, I can gain access to these values. So here is the refactored check inventory function. As you can see, this function is more concise and easier to read. I'm looping through the resources dictionary and accessing its key value pairs by using the items method. I'm also comparing each resource value to the product ingredient requirements. If resources are sufficient, then the function will return true. The check funds function is slightly harder to refactor for two reasons. First, each currency denomination requires a separate calculation. And second, I like creating new variables for each denomination. This allows the flexibility to reuse the variables and perform additional calculations later on. Perhaps the machine needs to keep track to provide customer refunds or return proper change. But the current state of the project doesn't require additional calculations. Thus, I've eliminated the variables, consolidated the addition process on line 28, and moved the produce function call outside the current function. I've removed the function because we're adding additional steps to the program, and I want to avoid confusion when tracking function calls. So here's the refactored function. I begin by assigning 0 to a variable named funds. Then I use the function arguments, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, to calculate the sum of each currency denomination. Finally, I add those values to the funds variable. Clearly, I lose a great deal of flexibility as each calculation is not labeled akin to its denomination, but the code is simple and easier to read. Again, I'm also using the customer's product request to determine whether or not the fund requirements have been met or exceeded. As you can see, the produce function also contains several lines of redundant, hard-coded calculations. Again, to resolve this issue, I'll loop through the resources dictionary to access each key value pair. Next, I'll use the resources value and the product requirement to calculate the resource balance. Finally, I'll assign the new balance to its corresponding resources key and return the object. As mentioned, I've added some additional functionality to the program. The coffee machine will continue to ask customers for their order and accept the payment. However, the program will now also keep track of profits and terminate if and when resources are depleted. First, I create a new variable named profit. When a customer makes a request and the check funds function returns true, the produce function is called, and the profit variable is updated with a new cash balance. Okay, so the last function that we need to cover is the report function. Now that I've created a profit variable, I want to include this in the report. Obviously, the profit variable is not an attribute of the resources dictionary, so it will be passed in as a report function argument. Currently, I have several confusing redundancies that must be resolved. Effectively, I have a loop and a hard-coded function that produce the same results. So I'm going to consolidate this code. First, I'm going to start by moving the loop inside the report function block. This will replace the hard-coded script. Second, I'll pass the profit variable into the report function. Finally, I'll refactor the variables and clean up the code. And now the code is complete. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please be on the lookout for my next video. Until next time, guys, peace.